I would like to declare that I told you so. And before people say, well, Brandon, you said Yamada would confess and then he would accept or then he would confess. I was slightly off. And yes, he did admit I like you first. But if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend and the guy's like, hey, I think I want to marry you someday. And then the girl comes back the next day with the ring saying, will you marry me? It is the girl who did the asking, not the guy. And I will not deny that my boy had a glow up. He went from an edgy, chuny wannabe to a absolute brilliant young man, and I believe in his future 100%. And it is because of his initial being bold, because she wanted to be asked out. But it's the fact that she came back and said, I love you. That is so much more powerful than a freaking like. And the fact that she then also said, will you go out with me? This entire time I've been covering this season, it was like a third way into season 2, I was like, I feel like Yamada is going to be the one to do the confessing. It just felt like he'd either get too nervous or something would happen. And while he definitely had more of a admitting than I was initially giving credit to, her asking him out is perfect. And I think is just so brilliant. They started this episode with them almost making out under the sheets and then ended with this cute little peck on the cheek with such a solid foundation. If they never gave us a season 3, I would be completely satisfied. I think we need to wait about a year for there to be enough material for another 1 core, but I would be okay waiting like 3 years if they wanted to come back for another 25 episodes. This was 10 out of 10. Full live reaction to this or any of these wonderful episodes of The Danger in My Heart over on my Patreon if you want to see my full uncut thoughts and hype as we get the moment we were waiting for. It's over there if you're interested. So, this was very good. And the entire time watching this episode, all I could think was, if this was pretty much any other author, they wouldn't be a couple yet. Like, I'm not saying this is the only show that has gotten characters in a relationship by the end of a 2nd season. Hell, I've seen it where it's by the end of the 1st season, right? But it's like, the idea that you introduce this, like, tunnel type area, the bridge, like, hey, if you cross together, you're kind of there forever, right? I'm getting, like, PTSD flashbacks to, like, Rent a Girlfriend, man. Like, I just know how that author would have, like, found a way to not only not have them in a relationship by the end of this episode, we would have regressed our boy back to before episode 1. Like, so many authors drag out the will they, won't they, because they have nothing to go off of. Like, they have this basic bitch idea of generic MC self-insert, pretty fun female lead. We want to have the generic self-insert get to the girl because then a lot of people relate to that story of like the girl of their dreams, but they don't really have anything to offer. But because once they get in that relationship, then they actually have to start being creative about how a dating thing would happen. It's just easier to write situations where it's like he just fumbles the bag and for some reason she still sticks around slightly. Where this, for 25 episodes, actually built a connection. Yes, it took 25 episodes for them to get to a relationship, but really, it didn't take all that long in terms of their actual build-up. It was a pretty natural connection that blossomed. But the development that both of them went through, and it wasn't, and I think the best part about this, was the relationship actually wasn't the main important thing. Both of them had 2 things that needed to work on. For our boy, self-confidence, socializing, just being a healthy version of himself. And that's because of Yamada, and because of her love and guidance. And for her, she's in an interesting situation where she felt like she wasn't really good enough for all these different things, and she really had a passion for acting in all these different moments, but she almost felt like she had to sacrifice her happiness, or being like, you know, as long as he's happy, I can be happy. But as we saw, she was still crying. Like, yeah, she loves being around him, but she wanted that job so bad. We don't even know if she got the job, and I think that's perfect, because it wasn't about, does she get it or not? It's about trying and doing the things that make her happy, and the fact that he was willing to support her. It's okay. Go do that. Like, this is what was brilliant, and why this is an author that is separated from your run-of-the-mill trash romance authors that drag shit out for 100 episodes and have some of the most unlikable characters ever, right? The Dangers in My Heart was special because you actually had not only a character arc for our boy, but Yamada as well, and the supporting cast was surprisingly fun. I will admit, I was quite salty with Chi. she cocked blocked us. We were about to have a I like you back, but I guess while in the moment I wanted Truck-kun to maybe make an appearance, in hindsight, her doing that allowed for a better confession in the future of the episode. So I'll temper my anger a little bit, but in the moment I was pretty salty. I was like, you freak. I was like, I know you don't know what you just did, but god damn it, you just ruined Christmas. Hara's stuff was, I'm glad she ended up having had the BS celebration, but God rip to all of them because she was ready to murder a fool. In general, this felt appropriate. It feels like leaving this season, they're going to be beneficial for each other. Not just because they clearly both love each other, but because like they actually encourage the other to be the best versions of themselves. And when they have things that they want to do that maybe they can't be a part of, they just encourage the other. It's like, it's just so healthy. And the fact that while most little school romances don't last past school, life will take detours. This is one of those situations where it's like, you just actually kind of believe this would be one of the rare cases that if this was an actual two characters we knew in real life, when we were in school at this age, you wouldn't be shocked 20 years from now to realize they're married and had a wonderful family. Like, that's actually how perfect it is. And I think the fact that they went fairly innocent with this episode, despite having some extra spice the past couple of weeks, was great. The spiciest was that they almost made out underneath the sheet, and of course they were talking about sex, but really in general, compared to the blowjob innuendos and everything else we've been having over the past couple of episodes, it's a pretty damn wholesome scene altogether. The thumbnail that I made for this video, it has like the wedding picture. That was actually from the author of this story. They made it as like a celebration for the capstone of season 2. Like, it's good. I obviously would love to see a seasons 3 and 4 just to see where the actual relationship elements would go, but at the same time, they already kind of were in a relationship that wasn't a relationship, that was a relationship that isn't, that was, that isn't, you know, like, you keep going on and on. I just feel like it'd be very nice to see more. But of course, we have to wait for more material, and then we also have to wait for the season to be developed, right? So, patience is a virtue, but we did the thing that even I was starting to get skeptical of, because I've seen enough, and I've seen enough good stories even drag out a confession. But the more I watched this episode, the more I was like, if you tell me you're not going to do this, I will actually bump the show down a point. Because I would have to lose respect for a show because there's no freaking way you deny the romance in an episode like this. That would be poor writing. You have the perfect opportunity. Our boy literally denied the makeout session because he wanted to be a gentleman and talk to you and be in a relationship before stuff like that happens. This was fantastic. This was hands down a 10 out of 10 season. Fuck it, I'll say it was a 10 out of 10 anime. Both seasons included. Because like, you could leave it here. Touch upon these characters never again, and you have a complete story. Like, we're not gonna see them up till they're 99 years in age, so there's always gonna be stuff we don't see. You could leave it here. I want more, but that's why I think this is a perfect romance. Definitely, like, in a top 5 romance anime that I've seen for me. 100%. Like, this was awesome. It was so good. What did you think? Did you walk in thinking we would get it, or were you like, nah, I don't want to get hurt. I know how these rom-coms are. Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring the bell so you get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Yuki Ali, Rogue Knight, and Pranay Samshwar. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.